So I want to take a moment real quick and just archive this before I move this down to the basement. It's been sitting in my room for the better part of a year, actually pretty much an entire year, and I just haven't done anything with it. This is the binder for the Devil to the Damned manuscript. This was the first finished copy that I printed on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper and would go and do hand edits with. So I'm not going to obviously look at every single page, but it's interesting. I wrote down some important things to remember over here on the side. Notes that I made, like, oh, page 16 stated she moved to town 3 years ago, change it to 5 years. And I don't even know if that's what I settled on, just like, because a lot of stuff was just like, I'll just put a couple years there and then I'll figure out the logistics later, and then I had to change it. The tome is emerald color with no outer text, stuff like that. I marked every chapter so I could find my place quickly. And as you can see, it's pretty much just me going in here. Actually, the prologue wasn't even included, so I still have the fully edited prologue for Devil to the Damned, which I'm pretty sure I didn't include it. If I didn't, here's a little bonus for you. The prologue, originally the book was supposed to start with Christine's dad, Corporal Matthews? Yeah, Corporal Matthews, being interviewed by a guy named Detective Carson, who was following up the night after or the night of, I don't remember, of the incident which caused Kevin Ruxbury's son to be shot and killed. So, which is kind of like a catalyst to the story. So this is following up immediately with that, as he's at the table in the little private room or whatever have you, and Carson's getting the information, and we kind of get just like, we don't get all the details of that, but we kind of get an idea that her dad actually had some kind of a traumatic thing happen, so that way you have hints of that later, and you're like, oh, that's referring to the prologue, but what does it mean? But I thought it would be a little bit, it kind of detracted away a bit from Christine, who we're supposed to be following, and then it's because we're supposed to kind of have all that stuff happen and have her be taken aback by it all, because she has no idea what's going on, just like the reader has no idea what's going on. So giving this kind of context when we're following Christine in as a first-person perspective doesn't make sense, because then you're giving yourself a dramatic irony where the reader has information that the character that they're seeing through doesn't have. Therefore, when she's confused about certain things and you're getting vague answers, you kind of know, but she doesn't know, but you're supposed to be her, so it doesn't make sense. So I didn't include that. But, I mean, that was only, it's 3 pages here. I think it was about 4 or 5 pages in the proper print. Yeah, so this was originally chapter 2, which I made it to chapter 1. And then as you can see, this is where some shit gets annoying, because it's like, I labeled 1 for this line, 2 for this line, and I needed to move 1, then 2, and then move those up here to shift this down because of just the flow. And then my favorite thing is scribbling shit out, writing stuff, and then finding the stars. Right here is a star right there. Is how I used to do all my editing at school. A star, and then follow the star over here. Some pages have multiple stars, so a star would go to a triangle, and then triangle would be a square, and then a square would be a circle, and I had to mix and match a shape game, so to figure out where I was making edits. Sorry about the skip, I just had a big cough. So, not a whole lot of edits going on here. I switched from black to red, and then I used almost the entirety of a red pen, just because I thought it looked better. It would be a lot easier to find, like, the little tiny mistakes and the little tiny fixes and whatever. A lot harder to find those when it's black at a glance. So, and then, yeah, chapter 2. This was chapter 1 and then became chapter 2. I switched those entirely. I think, yeah, so this is like the first instance we get of seeing Christine as Chrism with her mental status overlapping. So that was going to be, it was going to go so that's why it got confusing, because it went prologue, which is from a narrative perspective of her dad with the interview, and then it went straight to first person perspective as she's in the cage and experiencing these things and having this whole weird dilemma. We don't even know who this character is at this point, and then we went to Christine. So it was 3 perspective shifts in the first 3 chapters, 1 being a prologue, and then you settled into the character. So it was very confusing of who the fuck you're supposed to be following. So that's why I made it so you just follow Christine at the beginning, and then you get these interspliced in between where it shifts to technically her, but to a character you don't, a character who is undefined, um, and then from a really weird scenario. So now I hit this where I'm like, oh, this is a new order of events I wrote for myself. So I just get like, now I'm just changing how this, oh god, chapter 3 was a whole fucking mess. This is what I mean by it was the most stressful thing ever. So I gave myself an entirely new set of scene orders to get to where we need to be, because as I was editing this and reading this, I had ideas, I had stuff to get changed, I had stuff to get flipped, flopped, and undone, redone, whatever. And then you get in here and it's like, holy shit. Okay, so all these notes, I have an entire, look at this, just a note that says rewrite. She doesn't go to the bathroom. She deals with the headache, and waits for class to end. So originally she was supposed to leave class, go to the bathroom, not turn on the bathroom light because she left class with a really bad headache because she gets chronic headaches. Go to the bathroom, leave the light off, look at her own dark silhouette reflection with the light off, with only the reflection of like nothing, but she can still see her little shape or whatever have you, and then have her leave the bathroom, go back to class. But it just felt very like back and forth, and didn't really get a chance to settle. So I just like, I changed that up to make it, oh my god, look at that, what a fucking nightmare, what an absolute nightmare. And then look, so like so this page had so many I couldn't fit what I needed to write. So it was like, here's a star, here's a triangle, the triangle leads you to here. It's like, this is going here, or here rather. And then you have like, I ran a triangle, square, I had a square right here, then I had a rectangle, the rectangle was here, there's a circle which goes somewhere. So it's like, basically those are like, you know, red threads connecting to where edits need to be inserted, because I couldn't fit them in between the actual text. So as you can see, we're 15 pages into this, and I had an absolute fucking nightmare already to deal with. But this is what god, look, I had to like fit this and then write it down the sideways and say, this is all moving quickly, spend more time in the moment. So I was just like, it was just very like, go, go, go. I needed to like actually sit and have some details come to light, have some living in the moment, because it is first person. This page right here had one sentence on it. Alright, and then once I got over that hell, chapter 5 here got switched to chapter 4, Sinew. Immediately it was like, cut that, never mind. Then I also had to like deal with my own type of like, oh, what mistake did I make? Or like, what did I mean? So it looks like originally I crossed it off because I wanted to delete it. But then I was like, no. Circle that, keep that, and then within the bounds of the circle, the arrow says where to move what's in the bounds of the circle. So that became, instead of the first line, it became the second paragraph, intermittent line between paragraphs. See, like, oh, I don't want that, scratch that out. And then sometimes I'd scratch it out and realize, nope, I need to keep that actually, so circle it. But then I decide, scratch it out, keep it, circle it. You know what, I'm going to actually delete it. So scratch out the whole big circle so I know it's really gone. Fuck you, we're gone. Then just a whole lot of stuff here. So that chapter 4, flip those, that became chapter 5. And a lot of this is like me trying to figure out, the chapters being flipped around was me trying to figure out like, actually from Christine's immediate perspective to her in the cage, and when to have those, how to pace those going back and forth, and the mystery of like what you're experiencing with those weird cage ones. And then I printed all these out, I think at my parents' house and from the library. My parents had printed out weird like this. This is chapter 6. So these ones were a lot, the print was a lot bigger because the bounds were kind of weird. So a lot of stuff going, we're going to skip a little bit ahead. Eventually I ran out of red ink, and then I switched to blue ink. And I think I even ran out of blue ink and I went to green ink at some point. But a lot of these went by pretty quickly. A lot of what you see is just me, you know, delete this, and then you get to the end, it's like, all right, we gotta like a couple more paragraphs here, because I get in my head of like, oh, that chapter is only 4 pages long, I need to artificially inflate this chapter to make it closer to 10, so it actually feels like a full chapter. Oh god, here we go. What is this, Chris? This is me telling myself, hey, write an entirely new chapter right here between 8 and 9. This is what I want it to be. Oh, I ran out of room. Here's a star. Continue up here. And then, so, like, this is me explaining to myself what this next chapter needs to be. And when I get there, this is all I have to go off of from that. Sometimes I'll even write down here, like, check phone notes. And it's like, great. Where in my phone notes do I need to check to find that? What the fuck am I talking to myself? Because by the time I get to here, it's like 3 or 4 months down the line after I do all the editing and do all the writing and do all the editing just to get back to where I made a note that I now have to remember, and it is not a good system. It is not good. I could absolutely be doing it better, but you know what? It works for my brain. That's how my brain operates, and that's how it works. So let's keep, I'm just gonna flip over some of these. I don't remember if I had any. Oh, yep, there we go. Get to the end of this chapter, and it's just a big blob of notes. Oh, good lord. There's so much going on here. It's such a headache. This page is full of shit, so it's like, yeah, delete all of that, but then you need to insert this right here, and then you have a square. That square links right here. So this needs to go up there, and then you have, there's a triangle somewhere, because that's a triangle. Oh, this is a filled-in circle, which means that this filled-in circle, this needs to go here. Christ. What a psychopath I am. Let's just flip around. We're going to skip a whole bunch of these right here, because a lot of these pages are just the same. I don't know what that sticky note is. I don't think it's anything. Must have just been nothing. I took this to work a lot of times too. I would unfold this shit in the break room at work and just hand edit on my break. Here we go. Okay, so looking at the end of this, we have another note here that says, add a brief chapter of her in the cage while Sin is away. She sits up from the wall and touches the bars only to be zapped by a containing spell. She is left to interact with the ghosts, and she asks questions to learn about Sin and what she is. She gets stuck staring at a candle and feels her skin ignite. After their conversation, she paces and turns to see Phoebe's ghost in the corner, and she disappears. And a lot of the stuff that I wrote didn't always come to fruition. So then we get here, another chapter. So I wrote, at the end of this chapter, I wrote, add a brief chapter of this. Also, after you're done with that, write a whole nother new chapter of her in the cage still, and get Sin talking about Tuffle and blah, 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 as she's starting to come to. New chapter beginning. So this is me making notes for the, oh my god, I don't even know what I'm looking at right here. So this is supposed to be chapter 20 order, chapter 20, so sedition. Change event order. So I'm changing the event order of the chapter that's coming up next. I made a whole big square right here saying that this is now this, which needs to be moved somewhere else. I don't know where. And then this is the new order of what I want to happen in the next chapter before I even get to the chapter where I have to make the edits. Now it's like, what edits did I make are even going to apply when I write the new sequence of events for the next chapter? What are you doing to yourself, Chris? This was hell. This was literal hell. I hope this is my best-selling book of all time and sometime in the future, because this was actual fucking hell. I'm getting annoyed looking at this again. Why did I decide to record this? And now my chair is mocking me. And I can't stop coughing because I'm still sick. Chapter 22, Genesis, not 23. Good lord. It's me just like, yeah, no, get rid of that. You don't need that. That's trash. That's just bad writing, probably. Here's me telling myself how to start the chapter again, so get rid of this and start it with whatever I'm saying there. And oh man, this page, what a graceful page this was. Not a single edit to be seen. I wonder if this page, it's not page 76, because that's printed with 8.5 by 11, not 5.5 by 8.5. I wonder if this page, or all this, was left the same. Probably not. I've definitely, absolutely done some kind of an edit. 2 in a row? I don't believe it. 3 pages of no edits. I don't believe it. Maybe it's because I said to delete those and do something else. I don't know. That's insanity. There's no way those were left exactly as they are in this, because I've 100% did some kind of an edit. Oh, I just saw a preview. What is this? What is this? At the end of this chapter, I think this chapter ended really early for me in my head, so I'm like, I need to do something else. So next chapter, we're in Christine's perspective. Her and her mom are giggling and happy at a crafts table at church. Oh, I remember that. I like that chapter a lot. It's a Christmas season, and they're doing a fundraiser, a charity fundraiser thing. They reference Christine's friend group at the church. Beth, Nicole, and Amy. Everyone's kind, loving. It's like a really happy scene, and then it just keeps looping and distorting and getting worse and worse and worse as things go. I like that chapter. But keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, God. Anything real big? Just a lot. It's just more of the same, you know? Oh, yeah, the orphan part 1, me trying to figure out how to incorporate a bit of Ken and Macros, because I had an entire story sketched out, blueprinted out of Ken and Macro's backstory. I have so many. I should go over some of the documents I have on my PC, and I'll like tag it all as like spoiler stuff or potential spoiler, where I just will go over some. Oops, that didn't print right. I just go over some. A lot of that stuff. My phone's actually starting to overheat a little bit because I've been recording with the flash on for 16 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed that type of video, if you want to see me going over a lot of my unused documents and stuff like that, I'm just kind of going through a lot of that stuff, let me know, and I will get on it, because if I'm still going to be sick, I can't even fold that back over. If I'm still going to be sick, I need to procrastinate. I need to work on some stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.